So, Wilkie, before we started recording, you were talking about how sometimes, because your bottle's so big, you have to go and fill it up in the bathtub.
Yeah, I've got this lovely blue glass bottle with one of those, like, I'll see if it'll make the noise. But yeah, it's got like a metal clippy top. You know the one I mean.
Yeah, but that reminded me of a flatmate I had in second year, who I won't name. They had some weird habits. They'd wash up all of their cutlery and bowls and dishes, everything from cooking, not in the kitchen sink, which was perfectly large, you could fit things into it. No, they'd wash it up in the bathtub.
In the bathtub?
In the bathtub, because I remember asking this one day, or finding out one day, after being confused for several months as to why there were tomato stains around the plug hole.
Because that's not the sort of thing you want to see. Because,
no.
You know, and also I don't imagine that tomato was necessarily the thing that your mind, you know, first latched onto when you see red stains in your bathtub.
No, blood is often the go-to. However, I hope that none of my flatmates were murderers. And I survived it, so I'm guessing they didn't murder me, unless I am a ghost. Let me just... No, my hand does not pass through my arm. I think I passed the ghost test.
But that's because your hand is made of the same stuff as your arm.
Oh, damn, Wilkie, you're right.
Like, you got to go see if, like, Izzy can put her, unless Izzy's also dead.
Wilkie, are you...
The kid from The Shining. Is it The Shining?
No, not no, it's Sixth Sense. Who's the kid from... Is that Haley Joel? Is Haley Joel Osment from The Sixth Sense? Oh, he's going to come back in a minute, ladies and gentlemen. This is a tease for later on.
Yeah.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to a little show we like to do here on the weekends, or as you call it, Wednesday. It's, of course, Boi Review, hosted by me, Hamish.
And me, Tom Scott. I'm 31 kilometres south of Reykjavik, in this place you might not have heard of. I don't know. That's not a very good bit. I sort of regret doing it.
An obscure, not the most obscure, but a slightly obscure YouTuber with Tom Scott, but a good pick. I liked it.
Tom Scott is fun.
He does some good videos. Is he your topic for this week, Wilkie?
Almost. It's a hint, but it is, I think, an even-numbered week. Is it me?
Number week? No, it's me. I believe it is me, because it was 12 last week. No, it's number 13. Unlucky for some, which is an odd bingo thing to say. Oh no, lucky for some is what they say. That's always odd, because 13 is famously unlucky bingo people. Come on. Get your shit together, right? But no, this week it is my turn to go first, and...
Lucky you.
I don't know whether this stayed in the edit, but it'll be on a little exclusive content we'll be doing for a new platform, which announce later on in the show. So stay tuned to that. But I will talk about Haley Joel Osment, and he appears in a video game series, that being Kingdom Hearts, one of my favourite video game series, and a new game in the Kingdom Hearts series came out. Now, Wilkie, you've lived with me for a year. You've probably heard of Kingdom Hearts. You've probably seen me play bits of it in our house.
I saw you were fighting, I think there was like a giant clock or something. Like it seemed like a big like space arena.
Yes, so I was playing Kingdom Hearts 3. There are like these really difficult boss fights, and one of the guys can summon a giant clock because he can stop you in time and can really mess you up. That's his sort of shtick.
Now, that guy one of the people who doesn't have a heart, or one of the people who doesn't have a body? Are those the two things? A heart or a soul?
Yeah, heart or body. That person had both. That was a person.
Oh, damn. Damn!
Clock person was heart and body. Everything. Whoa. 2 parts.
The whole package.
But thankfully for this current game, you don't need to worry. Well, you do kind of need to worry about Heartless and Nobodies, but...
I'm very worried about both of them.
You can do it all whilst jamming out to all the music from every single Kingdom Hearts game. Because Wilkie, this is not a game where you like got a hack and slash. It's not a typical RPG. It's a rhythm game.
What?
Yeah. So the new Kingdom Hearts game has you go through the stories of every single game, visiting every world, but in each world there's like a couple of songs that are based on sort of the music of that place, and you have to progress through this special stage, defeating enemies in time to the music of the stage.
That's very cool.
Like a rhythm game.
It's like, so there's Kingdom Hearts, right? And a Kingdom Hearts game, as far as I understand, you have the bit that's like the bit that's like Final Fantasy.
Uh-huh.
And then in the middle there's Disney films.
Yep.
With Final Fantasy bits in the middle, and then the Disney films help you solve the Final Fantasy problem.
Yes.
This is like one layer above that. You've got the Kingdom Hearts game, but instead of Disney films, you've got other Kingdom Hearts games in the middle.
Yeah.
So are the songs that you're jamming out to Disney songs? Do you have to like beat up like the Titans to the beat of Zero to Hero or something?
Yes and no. So
Okay.
the music is based on the stage music for the Kingdom Hearts world. So what's really cool is that the orchestra and the composers behind Kingdom Hearts do a really awesome job of taking the theme and the sounds of the Disney worlds and turning them into music, either sort of an overworld theme and a battle theme as well. And those are typically the two songs in each world. Sometimes those are directly lifted from songs, so you can visit Halloween Town from The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Okay.
The main theme of Halloween Town is This Is Halloween, which is sort of an orchestral version of the theme song from that movie.
Okay.
Whereas in Agrabah, which you can also visit from Aladdin, that music is more just inspired by the general feel that Agrabah puts off, sort of this Middle Eastern vibe, rather than specifically being from the film.
Okay.
However, there are additional songs you can unlock, which are songs from the musical. So you can, if you collect enough resources, you can create the song A Whole New World, and you can play that as a separate level. A Whole New World being a song from Aladdin.
Yes.
I think there are a couple of others.
Is there Zero to Hero? There really should
not
be.
as far as I can tell.
It's a good song though.
The Hercules music, I don't think, isn't quite as ingrained to lots of other people. There's a definitely a Little Mermaid song, and I wouldn't be surprised if there were a couple of Frozen songs, because that was the weird thing in Kingdom Hearts 3. Just out of nowhere, it was Donald, Sora, and Goofy, who are the main three characters. They weren't like watching Elsa as she goes through sort of the plot of Let It Go, you know, as she creates the castle. They were literally watching her sing Let It Go.
Oh yeah, so now like canonically, because usually the songs in Disney films are like abstractions or like they cover a time jump, but no, Elsa literally sang.
And they could also hear an orchestra, which is the weirdest thing. They could hear an orchestra and her sing, so that means that Elsa's powers are more powerful than we ever imagined.
Well, because you know how sound is just like vibrations in the air?
Yeah.
And you know how things that are cold move more slowly?
Uh-huh.
Do you think Elsa could just have been going, ah, but then like around her make the air like oscillate between different temperatures to make it sound different? So Elsa's just like, just like yelling, but around her the sound is being like slowed down and sped up to make it sound like sound.
Wilkie, that might have been one of the most profound and intelligent statements you've ever made. That's a really good idea. I like that.
It may well be the only intelligent statement I've ever made.
That's a really good fan theory. You should go onto r/Frozen and put that out there. So
Maybe
this
I
is
will.
how Elsa sings. What was I going to go with that?
That's how she hits those super high notes as well.
Yeah, I mean that's how Idina Menzel actually sings. She doesn't.
Yeah.
She just controls the vibrations in the world around her.
Elsa, not Idina Menzel though. Elsa is Elsa.
Elsa is Elsa. Elsa's her own woman. Elsa. There's a belief in Kingdom Hearts 3 that, because when it was being made kind of a little bit before Frozen was super popular, initially when it started development, rumor that Elsa was initially meant to be the villain, or not the villain, but like a boss in the Frozen world.
Wow.
But obviously it became so successful, so they had to quickly change it around. And the reason for that is because like everyone in that world has lots of really great dialogue, but Hans, who ends up being the actual villain, you basically don't see him at all until like the final boss fight, and it's a real left field turn. And the final boss fight doesn't really fit him; it fits Elsa a lot better. It was an interesting YouTube video. But anyway, Melody and Memory. What I really like about it is I don't normally play rhythm games, Wilkie, but it's fun. You have to bonk enemies with your Keyblade, or with Goofy's shield and Donald's staff. And you have to bonk them in time to the music. You also have to jump, so sometimes there's going to be someone trying to shoot you, like some kind of projectile, you have to jump out of the way. Or there are some enemies that are in the air, so you'll have to jump and then hit them. There are also crates that you can smash along the way that just require you to bonk. There are these cool crystals you can do, where if you then hit them with the right button, you can do a cool attack. And you can also fly at certain points in the stage to try and catch all of these notes that pass you by.
Is that with, like... Isn't... Donald Duck's a wizard, isn't he?
Yeah, Donald Duck is a wizard. I think, as has been well noted, Donald Duck casts the most powerful version of a spell ever in any Final Fantasy game.
Yes. Yeah, no, you've explained this to me before, yeah.
Yeah, because I think it's like Faraga, it's like the Fire of Faraga is like the go-to Final Fantasy fire spell, but they also put sometimes like prefixes in front of them, like you do in science. So you have a kilometer. Well, actually, that was a bad example because you don't really have a megometer. But you would have a megabyte, a gigabyte,
a kilobyte, yeah.
Yeah, it took me a second to think. If you take that prefix and go up to a really high one, Donald has put the highest prefix in front of Faraga, and he just used it to blow somebody up. He then also died.
Oh my god, Donald, no!
The game then faked you out because it did a time travel thing. You were able to save his life. The game also faked you out on Goofy's death in the middle of Kingdom Hearts 2, which I learnt when I replayed that recently. I completely cut it off from my mind. There's a moment where Goofy gets hit by a boulder, and you believe he's dead, and Mickey just... You could see Mickey's eyes just like glow red with rage. He just starts ripping through people.
Wait, what? These games confuse me so much.
Well, they confuse everybody. That's Kingdom Hearts in a nutshell.
So is it actually Final Fantasy?
Cloud from Final Fantasy VII and Squall from Final Fantasy VIII show up, as does Aerith and Yuffie and Tifa and Sephiroth.
Crikey. What a crossover. Everyone's talking about Infinity War or whatever, like the most ambitious crossover. Kingdom Hearts, when did the first Kingdom Hearts game come out?
Like 2005? I feel like it's had its...
2002! Oh my god! Kingdom Hearts has been doing its thing for 18 years. Just so chilling on the most bonkers concept ever. And now they've made a rhythm game.
Yeah, but it's surprisingly good. The music in Kingdom Hearts has always been one of the best elements. It's so well designed, and it's really awesome to get to bonk enemies to the music. I say bonk, it is still really fun, and it feels very good. You know, it's also one of those weird games. It's always been fun to sort of move the menu in time to the music for me, so it's really weird that now that's sort of been preparing me this whole time, and I just really enjoy it. You know, I didn't think I'd really like rhythm games. They're not really a thing here in the West, but it's been awesome. I can understand why people would enjoy them way more. You know, I guess actually I quite liked Guitar Hero back in the day, but that's not really a game anymore. Unfortunately, no one makes them.
Yeah, and is maybe not so much a rhythm game. Like, obviously there's rhythm, but it's more like a well, I don't know. It doesn't
feel like a rhythm game, but
is it a game like what's the game where you're like the little shiny bug thing going along the track? It's like a rhythm game, but you look like a little shiny bug creature.
I don't know. It's not normally it's like a game genre that I play, unfortunately. Wilkie.
That's fair.
But yeah, if you like Kingdom Hearts, this is definitely one to pick up, and it's a really fun rhythm game, even if you like the genre, and so I'd absolutely recommend it. It contains some interesting story elements. Apparently, I've not got to any of those new story beats yet, but I'm progressing through, and it's just it's a fun way to experience the Kingdom Hearts series as well, because it gives you little recaps of the stories you go through. So yeah, Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory. I think my only issue is with it, to throw in some bad stuff, unfortunately, is the menus. Sometimes I wish it was a little bit easier just to progress through the story. There's a lot of having to back in and out of menus. I get lost quite frequently. When I'm in the game playing the thing, it's great. But I wish there was a little bit more like, yes, I want to play the next song. Whereas what you often have to do is you finish a song. You can either play it again instantly, which is great if you've got a challenge you haven't done. Challenges are really well made as well. But then you have to back out of it. There'll be this fun animation as you leave the world, and then you have to then go to the next world. There'll be a fun animation, and then you have to start the song. And it just gets a bit slow. Like sometimes I just want to go through it all and play the music. And there are a few elements like that. I also feel like there's this museum aspect of you having to collect all these extra collectibles, but it's a bit up in the air as how you get them, and it feels like it's going to be quite grindy just to get this specific gold card at some point in the future. And so I feel like that isn't fill me with a lot of joy. And I don't always like those in video games, particularly because they're tied to some kind of completion element. Like, you have to get all the cards. It's like, okay, I guess, but it's not like I have to go to this place and get it. I have to play the game enough and hope it randomly gives me one. So because of those kind of things, I'm going to unfortunately have to give it a bad good, but the good part is amazing.
Wonderful. Well, that's really nice to hear. And if you can't get Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory, then you can just get like a mod for Beat Saber that turns your swords into keyblades.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I want to get a Oculus. What's the Oculus? Is it Oculus Quest?
The Oculus Quest is the self-contained one, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Hambo, at the start of this episode, I did a bad bit where I pretended to be Tom Scott. I didn't really put my heart into it, but you were right in thinking that I'm talking about Tom Scott today. Specifically, I'd like to talk about a show whose name I have forgotten. A show called Citation Needed. Citation Needed is a show that Tom Scott and his friends and that group call themselves Technical Difficulties, that they do originally, I think, as a podcast. Then they did a string of live events that are all on YouTube. My flatmate, housemate, I use those interchangeably. We live in a house. My housemate, Alex, has been showing me some of these Citation Needed videos, and I think they're very good. The concept essentially is Tom has a mostly random Wikipedia article in front of him, and he reads out the name.
Okay.
And then the three guests, they're not guests, they're all, it's always the same three guys, have to guess what the article is about. So,
okay.
Tom Scott reads out the title Sergeant Reckless, and the three guys guess until they get a ding for a point, and then they slowly build up. Like, so one of them guesses, was Sergeant Reckless like hang on, just to check, are we talking about a human here? No. Was he a horse? Ding. Sergeant Reckless was a horse.
Was Sergeant Reckless really a horse?
Yeah, that's one of the first episodes I saw. It's about a horse called Sergeant Reckless who was like a really good horse.
A really good horse, so he got the rank of sergeant.
Yeah, became a sergeant.
That horse outranked probably quite a lot of humans.
Yeah, probably. So Citation Needed is good. It's bonkers. If I had to say a negative, I suppose there's too much media these days that's just entirely white men, but it's for pretty cool white men as far as white men go. They seem they're often very aware of the fact that they are just four white guys talking about Wikipedia articles.
You know, it's from the two white guys making a podcast where they tell people what they think of things.
Yeah, because what the world needs is more opinions from young white men who think they should do a podcast.
Yeah,
but
we're self-aware.
Yeah, we're pretty self-aware. Having given Citation Needed a good, Hambo, I think we should play some Citation Needed.
Okay, is it just going to be me on my own?
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
So again, the articles are mostly
bring Malex in.
I could. Let me send him a message. I'll DM him and ask if he wants to be on the show. Here he comes. Come on in.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Hambo.
Sorry for the short notice.
Hello.
We realised Citation Needed will probably be better with more people.
Plausibly.
So if you'd like to take a seat.
Thank you. I can't stay for too long.
That's okay.
I do have to cook dinner.
Yes. Okay, right. Hopefully we can still hear Hamish as well. This is very... so janky. Welcome everyone to Boitation Needed. That's what we're calling this. It's I have my housemate Alex is here.
Hello.
Plausibly will also be a guest in the future, but is an impromptu guest for this episode of Citation Boy Did.
I knew about this 2 minutes ago.
The best way of knowing about things.
Exactly.
So, Hamish, are you ready?
Yes.
Alex, are you ready?
Yes.
Your Wikipedia article, which is not entirely random, but is mostly random, is Chicken Gun. Chicken Gun.
Malex, why don't you go first?
Is this some sort of parody film of the famous movie Chicken Run, where instead of them running away, they get shot out of a big gun?
Instead of the plane.
Yeah, exactly.
They come
a gun.
I wish it was, but sadly not.
Okay, is this for some strange and, if once you've heard it, makes a lot of sense reason, just a place somewhere in the UK, sort of obscure upwards in Scotland, just somewhere near Loch Ness, a place called Chicken Gun.
Chicken Gun?
Yeah.
Where do you come from? I come from Chicken Gun.
Another Another beautiful suggestion, but no, sadly not. You guys are being too clever about this.
Is it a gun that fires chickens?
Ding! Yes. But I'm going to need a bit more detail, please.
Does it fire chicken eggs specifically?
No.
It fires eggs in the process of becoming chickens, so that you fire an egg, but it's a chicken when it hits the opponent.
Now, interesting you mentioned an opponent. Why don't we discuss perhaps, okay, it's not eggs, it's chickens.
Okay.
There's a detail about these chickens that we're missing.
Alive?
No.
Dead.
Binary option, thought I'd go for it.
Dying.
So, the chicken gun is a gun that fires dead chickens. Now, let's discuss perhaps what the chicken gun is being fired at.
Is this to feed, like, dangerous animals? Like, you got a bear enclosure in a zoo, you don't want someone going up to him with a chicken, so you just chuck a chicken at them, yeet the chicken at them.
See, I think this is for Christmas, when you often have loads of people in the kitchen, and you just need to get the turkey in the oven, so you just,
That'd be a turkey gun, though, Hambo, wouldn't it?
Well, it's a small family, they can't eat a whole turkey. The chicken gun is for small families with cramped kitchens who need to get the chicken in the oven now. No.
Is this part of like a duel? Are you dueling someone with a chicken gun?
Chicken guns at dawn.
Chicken guns at dawn.
Yeah, this is what Alexander Hamilton hoped for when he challenged Aaron Burr to a duel.
Oh, we're using real ones.
Guns.
I'm just gonna throw my chicken at the sky, man.
Hamilton brings an alive chicken and sets it free. No. The chicken gun, I'll give you some clues. Chicken gun was first used in the mid-1950s in Hatfield in Hertfordshire. Now, this requires some very specific Hatfield knowledge, I think. But that's the time period. It was first used in the 1950s.
Okay, so World War II's out of it.
The chicken gun was one of the many plots to kill Hitler.
Again, the Korean War, I think, it was plausibly a plot to kill Castro at some point. We had a lot of those. So,
chicken gun, is it to shoot at, I think it's a child game for children, and they would shoot it at each other.
Like a piñata, but catch the dead chicken instead.
Yeah. The dead chicken's full of sweets, and if you catch it, you get to eat them. Alex, you were on the right track talking about military purpose.
Oh, no.
But remember, the chicken gun was so used potentially for military purposes, but was not used overseas, was used in England.
We didn't have a civil war in those times that I'm aware of.
So was not used as a weapon.
Target practice?
Is it for, like, football?
Football?
To deal with football hooligans.
To deal with, no, again, was not used on people.
See, I said target practice because I thought they like a clay pigeon, they badunk a chicken
but just like a
live, a dead chicken.
A meat chicken as opposed to a clay pigeon.
But like on aircraft, maybe.
Interesting you mentioned aircraft. I'll give you a ding for mentioning aircraft.
Are they dropping chickens on people?
No.
Are they firing chickens at planes?
Yes. Ding.
No.
Is this to like clog up the propellers of a plane?
No. Well, okay, I guess I'll give you a ding, but also no. You're on the right track, so I'll give you...
It's to test engines. If you're making it like a jet engine.
Yes.
Or any kind of engine.
This would be the point at which I would press the button where you know more about...
I was going to say, we legally can't call them that, but perhaps surprise cakes of some sort fall from the sky.
Surprise cakes.
Surprise cakes.
It's very good. So, yes, a chicken gun is a large diameter compressed air cannon used to fire dead chickens at aircraft components in order to simulate high-speed bird strikes.
Ah!
See, this is what the plane needed that was in Sully. If they'd had this, they would have been fine. No landing at Hudson River for those guys.
If they pre-chickened the engines of Sully's plane, he'd have been fine.
If you'd pre-chickened that plane there, you'd have made it down with all your crew.
Whole, dead, standard-sized chickens, as would be used for cooking.
As would be, but aren't being used for plane.
Because in the 1950s, they didn't care about food shortages. The war was over, rationing wasn't a problem anymore.
They've got too many chickens. What are we going to do with all these leftover chickens, they said. Chuck them at a plane.
Now, here's a fun fact. During the development of the Boeing 757 in the 1970s, the cockpit windows were subjected to a chicken test. Where an adjective 4-pound chicken was loaded into a pneumatic gun and fired at 360 knots. That's 410 miles an hour. head-on. It is described as a very messy test. Now, I said adjective there. I'd like you to guess what the adjective is.
Wait, can you... So, what was the adjective to?
An adjective, 4-pound chicken, was shot at 410 miles an hour at the plane.
Frozen.
No.
Defrosted.
No.
Naked.
Chickens don't wear clothes.
Clothed. That was the surprising thing.
But like...
Wearing a little feather.
But no, defeathered. They might have gone for like naked and defeathered.
Doesn't mention that, but that's not along the right lines.
Alive?
Yes.
No.
The word I was looking for was anaesthetised.
Oh,
but
no!
The chicken was not dead, merely sleeping when it was fired at 410 miles an hour at the plane.
That's awful.
It's the 1970s. I was going to say it's the 1970s. Okay.
I feel like killing a chicken for the purpose of just firing at a plane, not super great. I feel like you shouldn't waste useful food. But I feel like it's worse that it's not even dead.
Dead, yeah. Oh, guys, come on.
Now, you guys got it. Now, at the bottom of a Wikipedia page, there's also a See Also panel. One of the See Also options is a chicken-powered nuclear bomb.
This isn't those landmines that had chickens in it, is it?
I don't think so.
Or is it like the dogs they trained to like
run at tanks?
With bombs?
It might have been.
Yeah, because there was landmines in it was like the 60s. It was the Cold War, and they used to they had a small bit of radioactive gubbins in it, and they were like, how do we keep this warm? Well, it's about the size of an egg. Chicken just rubs its bum on it.
So they make the delicate mechanical component of the bomb, look like an egg, and a chicken will take care of it. And yes,
which is how you get a Godzilla-sized chicken raging over Tokyo.
Well, not Tokyo. More likely Berlin. These were 10-kiloton nuclear mines designed to be placed on the North German plain, and at the event of Soviet invasion from the east, detonated by wire.
Jeez! Imagine being a Soviet soldier and the last thing you hear is... Hang on a minute. Explosion.
And then a nuke goes off. Well...
I don't think we can top that.
But yes. A chicken gun used to fire dead chickens
at a plane.
At planes in order to test the integrity of their windshields and such.
God damn it.
Thank you, Alex.
No worries, I'm going to go finish dinner. Goodbye, everyone.
That was good. Wilkie, we should keep that as an ongoing bit. I want that to be a recurring segment on the show. That was a really good segment. Wilkie, we didn't discuss a joint topic for this week.
We actually didn't, yeah.
But I had a good idea and I had a bad idea, and I can't remember what the good idea is. So I'm going to have to go with the bad idea.
Okay.
So, because the other day, I was thinking about how there are things in the world that some people just cannot do. So some people can do it and some people can't. So I remember one of those things being that you're taught at school that some people can sort of like bend their tongue. So not like bend their tongue backwards, but like can bend their tongue around so it goes into like a semicircle.
Yes. Yeah, they can do the little burrito. I can't do that.
Like a tongue burrito. Right, okay. And there are some people can, I think everyone probably has the capability of snapping their fingers, but some people really struggle to go so I remember for a time there were lots of these things that I couldn't do, and then just someday it sort of unlocked in my head. But also there are obviously some things that I still can't do. So I want to talk about the idea of these things that you can't do. Because I'd be interested to know, so for me, it's okay, I can roll my tongue. When people at school were trying to sort of say can you roll your tongue into a burrito? Did that have any reaction when you then couldn't do it? Do you feel like you're missing out?
Well, so that's weird actually. You've just triggered a very specific memory. Well, not a memory, but a feeling. Because I do remember not being able to do this at primary school and having because I know that my mum can do it and a few other kids at my primary school could do it, and I do actually now very strongly remember a class system, not the classes, the lessons we went to, but literally I was. For one afternoon, because you know how quickly these things pass, little trends.
This is in primary school.
For one afternoon, I was looked down upon because I couldn't do it. It became the most important thing for a day. that you could roll your tongue. And I was like, guys, it's not my fault. My mom says it's completely random. And they're like, and I can't demonstrate what they did.
Stick their tongues out and roll them at you.
Yeah, they rolled their tongues at me, and I was like, that's not fair though. And then I think one of them hit me in the leg with a tennis racket or something. That happened a lot. I got hit in the shins with tennis rackets a lot at primary school.
That's just hitting you with the metal bit, because the racket part doesn't quite hit you.
There were no metal bits in them, because obviously that's dangerous.
Oh, like a plastic one.
Solid plastic. Like an inch thick, solid plastic bat thunk into my shins.
Yeah, okay, I remember what you're talking about. Those are good. Those are good things. Maybe this has just turned into like primary school memories, because that's, I guess that's where I was trying to get this topic from. So scrap the whole things people kind of can't do, just like these weird primary school memories, because that's what I was thinking about. Because I remember for ages I couldn't snap my fingers. Now I can, not very well, but I can do it. I remember for ages, just feeling really embarrassed, particularly whenever you'd have someone come into class when you're in year 6 and be like, okay, everyone snap your fingers, and then just having to along to this beat or whatever, and having to awkwardly sort of say, what if you can't snap your fingers?
And they always tell you to clap along, and you're just sitting there clapping like an idiot because it doesn't sound the same, and you're just there like, because the clapping is of course really loud compared to the snapping of fingers, and like you still feel like an idiot.
Yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
And
I can remember the moment I learned to snap my fingers.
Oh, okay, go for it.
Because probably because of these like primary school reasons, I like was suddenly very obsessed with learning to snap my fingers. And so I remember there's a specific road in Brighton. I won't say where, but like I can picture the road. And it's like a little side street that we use to avoid like the crowds on some of the busier shopping streets. And I remember just walking along, just like rubbing my fingers together, just trying to get one of them to snap, and then suddenly just like, well, no, not like money grubbing billionaire in a cartoon. No, like along each of the pads of my fingers in succession with my thumb, until suddenly just like I snapped. I was like, wait, you're meant to snap with this finger? Your middle swearing finger? Because I was trying to snap with my index finger.
And that's hard. That's impossible.
I know, because that's what I assumed was happening. But no, you snap with your middle finger, and I finally got it. And I was like, I just went around the whole day, just like snapping my fingers like an idiot. It was brilliant.
Probably annoying your parents and everyone on the street.
Oh, very much so. Yes.
Because I don't remember learning to do things. Because I don't remember when I learned to snap my fingers, but I remember that was something I wanted to do for ages. Whistling was another one for me. I couldn't whistle for so long. I can't whistle that one. I don't do it often, but then I worked it out. I cracked it, and it felt so good. I could like whistle with cupping your hands together. That I was able to do that. Some people couldn't, but I couldn't work out how to just whistle on my own. And then also, the thing I wanted to do, the gross boy thing.
Okay.
Was wanted to be able to burp on command.
I can't do that. Boys are meant to do that.
Well, no, I boy isn't like the BOI, the boy, but it's just like gross boy, you know.
Gross, yeah, gross boys. I remember the gross boys.
But I wanted to. One of my friends could burp on command, and I was really jealous, and I wanted to just be able to do it, but I couldn't work out how to do it. And then just one day it clicked in my head. It's like, this is how one burps on command.
Because those things are never like inherently valuable. Like the ability to click your fingers or whistle or burp on command, they're not like actually that useful, right? Like if you want to become like a country western singer, maybe it's important that you can whistle, but like you can get through life without knowing how to snap your fingers. But it's as soon as someone else can, you have to know how to do it, or you're going to start falling behind.
Exactly. It seems like wiggling your ears, and some people can sort of like jostle their ears up and down. I for the life of me just cannot work out what they are doing, what magical sorcery they are doing, what sort of pact with some higher power that they have made that allows them to wiggle their ears up and down.
I think I can do it. I feel like I'm doing it when I try, and I can like feel my headphones moving now when I try to do it. But it's,
okay, then you're probably doing it.
But also, like it could just be like a muscle. It could just be a muscle in my jaw somewhere. Like it could be my jaw moving.
No, see, I can't imagine what muscle it is, and it feels different. So you probably are, but it's one of those things where I guess you can't see your ears wiggling because they're on the side of your head.
I guess, yeah, you'd have to get like an independent adjudicator.
Get someone from the Guinness Book of World Records. Oh, that was the topic. That'll be a topic for sometime in the future. I want to talk about Guinness World Records.
This is a really chaotic episode. such chaos.
It is chaotic. You know, that's what happens when you have a full day of uni, or I guess some uni stuff, and I have some work stuff, and it just, you know, and then all the energy that's been building up all day explodes out in Boi Review, and you get this.
Yeah. What was I thinking? Yes. Did you ever have GoGos Crazy Bones?
GoGos Crazy Bones. That sounds like a toy?
Yes. So, GoGos, I think they were originally called Crazy Bones, and then they were GoGo Crazy Bones, and they just became GoGos. These little plastic figurines of, like, little aliens, like, no detail at all, just, like, a vague shape, and then they'd have, like an eyeball painted on them. And just like a little ghost shape with a little spooky face on it, or a little octopus man. And they all had names, and you could get them in various color schemes, like you know how like some Pokemon are sometimes shiny, like different like palette swaps. You could get them made of either like opaque plastic or slightly translucent plastic with glitter inside. They were special. And there were certain designs, certain characters that were rarer. And I got a bunch of these from a friend of mine who didn't want them anymore. He was a bit older than me, and he didn't want them. So he gave them to me. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. A bag full of plastic tat. Just what I wanted. And I really did. I was not being sarcastic. I really wanted it. And it was so cool. And I introduced them to my school. And, I became like the Go-Go's sensei. The
Go-Go's expert.
Yeah, like people would come to me asking how valuable their Go-Go's were, and I'd be like, yes. And I would literally just base it on how cool I thought it was. Like, this one's not worth a lot. You'll have to trade a few of these to get a bigger one, or like not even a bigger one, like a nicer one. And I like invented this game where you would like flick the Go-Go's you'd like arrange the Go-Go's like bowling pins, and you'd flick them towards each other, and any ones of your opponents that you knocked over you could keep, but they got to keep the ones that you flicked at them. So it was this whole like insider trading deal where like you'd put up a bunch that you didn't want, but then you'd eventually collect up a store of like really worthless ones that you could put up for this game to use as ammunition to gain other people's more expensive ones.
Smart.
And it was incredible. I had so many of them.
That could go wrong very quickly. Sort of this game of you get to keep these things if you lose them, because that's gonna get a lot of people really sad really quickly.
Yeah, that almost certainly did happen.
Friendships were lost.
Friendships were spoiled
over Go-Go's little aliens. I remember at school, you must have heard of Beyblades, the little cool spinning tops.
Yes.
Back when I was at primary school, we were allowed to take, my first primary school, I went to two. First primary school, we were allowed to take toys into school. It was really fun. And people would play Beyblades, because Beyblades are awesome, because they're really small, you can carry them in your bag, and then you just have this big plastic thing, which doesn't fit in your bag, but it's just convenient to carry, and you can just shove it somewhere, and it was like, yeah, cool, do that. But then the Beyblades were the one toy that got banned because somebody played with them inside, just on the floor, and it caused a bit of damage. I don't know how they did, because the original Beyblades were just plastic.
Yeah.
The more modern ones, they did like a reboot when I was in secondary school, a bit older. I think it was like year 10 or 11. And my friends also, we got really into it because we all really liked Beyblades when we were kids. And like, these are so much better. The components just felt so much more fun to play with. But the like original Beyblades, just mostly plastic with like the tiniest bit of metal in them, and somehow it ruined something at the school, and they all got banned. Then at my secondary school, no toys were allowed. I remember we were literally allowed to take in, you could take in a football, a tennis ball, or a bean bag.
That's rubbish.
Those are the only toys you're allowed during playtime.
Hear me out. All of you collaborate. All of you get bean bags and have a beanbag war. Like, with limitations breed creativity. You got to be creative. Everyone cash in your toy chip for a single beanbag, and then like destroy the school with beanbags.
You've got to be careful though, because some beanbags can be really nice. But I remember we had one beanbag, because the school also had some beanbags they provided for students that didn't have their own, and they were they were filled with like finer pellets, but some of the ones that the kids had were filled with like these big, massive pellets. And if that hit
some of the ones the kids had were filled with stones.
It felt like they were filled with stones. If it hit you, it hurt.
One of the things that have okay, first of all, this Beyblades reminded me of this. My favorite Beyblades fact, and we're not going to discuss this, is that canonically, who was the guy who Moses parted the sea using a Beyblade. he spun it so fast that it parted the sea.
I just love when they try and shove animators just shove like religious stories into their lore.
Yeah. But then beanbags at my primary school. I never got involved in this, but I was almost certain there was a bit that people would get involved in where you had to sneak a beanbag out of gym class, because like we use beanbags to like practice throwing it into a hoop to like practice throwing things. You had to sneak the beanbag out of gym class and then go pee on it.
That's gross. Well, you don't say you did this.
No, I'm saying I didn't get involved in this, but like so many of the beanbags smell of pee that I, like almost certainly it was the thing that other people did, not me.
Wookie, that's gross.
I know it's gross. I thought I was being a gross
boy for wanting to learn to burp on command, but people peeing on beanbags are gross boys.
I know it's gross. Hamish, don't. I'm not doing this. You got to listen to me.
Wilkie, second Instagram story. Put out a picture of a beanbag and just say, please don't pee on beanbags.
It's like no, it's not like that thing.
It's not like what thing?
I was going to say it's like the snake that says don't tread on me, but it just says don't pee on me. But like the don't tread on me snake is like a white supremacist thing, I think.
I don't know enough about it. I think it's related to some political thing. Probably not a good thing. So let's dodge that one. And I guess with all of that, with our final topic finished, it is time for us to close out the show. I believe. Oh, we didn't give. Oh, this is going to be a janky edit. For anyone that's listening to this afterwards, the chicken gun bit will have happened when we were talking about Wilkie's topic, but we recorded it after doing the final topic, and I don't think we quite finished it. So if the conversation on the final topic just sort of ends, you'll find out why. Because we can't. We
could try and record the end of the primary school antics topic.
I feel like just sort of, primary school antic, which started off with sort of that typical primary school thing of just like, I can do this thing and you can't.
Yeah, they're just like things that have no real value, but at primary school, they seem to be so important. Like, I can't think of a better example than like the GoGos. Like, they were...
Yeah.
Like, even the official manufacturers of GoGos didn't ascribe such value to them. They, like, there was, like, an annual that would come out each year, like a magazine with, like, each design in it, and it would tell you, like, oh, this design has a name, and, like, a tiny bit of backstory, like, oh, this is Vlad the vampire. He likes to suck blood, and this is what he looks like. He's a little cartoonish vampire figure. But, like, I don't know, it just ended up being me. It was like the weirdest thing, just total, happenstance. I was the person who knew everything about GoGos, and so I became the authority on them. And I got to decide which ones were cool and which ones weren't cool.
Oh, these all look cool. I've just fired it up. These are actually way cooler than you're talking about. I'll put some pictures out on the Instagram. But yeah, I want to give this topic like
We've stumbled upon a topic that's a bit too conceptual to like say that it's good.
I want to give it a good bad because I feel like it's sort of sad because I feel like often this can lead to a bit of schoolyard bullying if you're at the end of the thing where you can't do it. If you've got the worst GoGos, if you can't snap your fingers, if you can't whistle, you're that kid in the class that's having to clap along. But also it's good looking back on it now because it just seems so silly and it's fun to kind of laugh at it and think that, this is something we ascribe such importance to, and yet it's just not. Wilkie, one final thing though, GoGo's Crazy Bones, they existed until like 2017. They had a whole 10-year lifespan for this kind of interesting niche toy.
Yeah, I've ended up on the wiki here. There are some here that I really remember. This little guy called Mosh, this little cute guy with just pointy ears.
Yeah, I can see that. We'll put out some of these. I bet it'll be fun.
Oh, there's this guy called Sun. He just looks like a big, like, almost like a penguin. They all have, at least this run of them, all had very Japanese names.
Yeah.
Hikaru, Nari, Neko, Ichiro,
Rufus.
Yeah, that's less so.
Well, with all of that, I think it's time to close out the show. We've rated 3 topics. We played a really fun game. I hope we play more of that game. And yeah, that's everything. So if you've enjoyed listening to this podcast, and we really, really hope you have, please make sure that you follow us on the platform. You give us a like, you give us a 5-star rating, however it is. Make sure absolutely that you share us with your friends. It's really important that if you want us, if people listen to the show, that you get us out there, because otherwise, no one's going to listen to us, and that's a big sad.
Yeah.
We really want to make sure our audience keeps growing larger and larger, because we're doing really well so far. Also, make sure to follow us on Instagram. Been doing a little bit of a revamp of some of our Instagram content, so you'll hopefully start seeing some Instagram exclusive reviews on there.
Yeah, don't miss out on those.
So if you could, to help us in our quest to try and review everything, because we realised doing 3 things a week is very slow. So now we've gone up to all 5 things a week, and I reckon we've done no time.
That's 66% more reviews.
Exactly.
If you'd like to get in contact with us, if you want to sort of talk to one of us directly, maybe consider DMing the Instagram page. But if you want to sort of do a more public thing, I have the #Boi Review hashtag tracks on my tweet deck, so if you want to put something out there that maybe gets mentioned on the show, then Twitter is how you can sort of get those messages to us.
This week, I think the hashtag should be #Boi Review GoGo. What was your favourite GoGo?
Yeah, if you collected GoGos, if you collected Beyblades, I remember, we shouldn't really dive back in, but Bakugan? Do you remember Bakugan?
I saw Bakugan in Tesco the other day.
The balls that you roll over the magnetic card, they were cool.
I thought Bakugan died, and I saw it in Tesco.
So yeah, if you had a stupid game at primary school, tweet with the #Boi Review and tell us about what the thing that took tech decks were a thing for some schools. Tech decks were a thing when I was in secondary school. So yeah, tweet at us with your primary school craze, and we'll see if anyone else had GoGos, because that'd be really interesting to see if GoGos were a thing.
And also, the big surprise that I teased at the start of the episode is that soon, hopefully by this coming weekend, we will also be on YouTube. We're on a lot of podcasts. We're on a lot of podcast services, and we do a mostly audio only thing, but we're hoping to have, it won't be anything crazy, just a cool sort of looping background, so we can start putting out video content.
A very cool looping background. I've seen Hamish's at least the versions that he sent me, and it's brilliant.
Yeah, Wilkie gave a lot of the ideas though, so Wilkie was the ideas guy. I was the do guy. And I think
it's almost like one of us is a humanities student and one of us is a STEM student.
But I think it looks really awesome, and I'm really excited to start putting that out. We will also hopefully be including YouTube exclusive content. It won't be taking away anything from the current show, but often the intro that you hear, the cold open, is normally a minute or so of often a 5-minute conversation, if not slightly longer, which is often really funny, but I like to condense it down to something a bit shorter and sweeter. But that whole conversation, however long it is now going to go up on YouTube, so it's not completely lost. So we've got that for this episode. We'll have that for the last 2 episodes as well, 11 and 12. And hopefully they will keep going up. So if you want to subscribe to our channel, that will be really awesome. And look out for YouTube content in the coming future. Hopefully, that'll be up by this weekend. But again, follow us on Instagram @Boi Review for all of those big updates. And I think that's everything we need to say.
Yes, that's it. And relax. I'm always you'd think that I'd be tired after recording an episode of Boi Review, but no, I get hyped up even after the episode's over. I'm full of boy energy. Yeah, it's good. It gets us going. We should do an episode of Boi Review and then sort of prepare and then do a second episode. Yeah, we should save one up that at some point. That'd be good. Over the holidays, just record one episode of Boi Review a day for a full week. Do a whole term's worth of episodes. Yeah, that would be fun. We'll work it out. But until then, it is going to be a goodbye from me. That's goodbye from me. And that's something you might not have known. It's a Tom Scott thing. I brought it back.